If I may, I would like to, before Jay and I actually, really introduce ourselves, would like to mihi to Toa Aroha first, and of course to Debbie, who represent nei tuahuriri. Ko te mihi tuatahi kia koe e te taua. Mō tō whakatūwheratangi a tātou hui te karakia ke raro te maru o te kaupapa I te hāhi o rātana he mihi aroha ki a koe kia kōrua, ki o kōrua mana, he mana I roto te whare nei o tūranga ara ki te rohi o nei tuahuriri. Mena hapu ko ai nā te whekenia rua hiki rātau mai te whānui o nei tahu tēnā kōrua. Whānau, so I felt it really important to acknowledge mana whenua because this kaupapa is about partnerships with iwi, with Māori or in a bicultural context, and this is why Jay and I are here. So kuaio, I'm Hemi James te Hemi, or James the James. True story. My mum hails from a little place in the North Island called Te Kuiti, Ngāti Maniapoto or Ngāti Koriki, my iwi. My dad is from the Cook Islands, ki o rana koto katoa. He's from a beautiful little island called Mangaia. And what a pleasure, an absolute pleasure it is to be with you this evening. Thank you very much for the opportunity. And Jade and I have got a really interesting way how we're going to express or outline our points of view, our perspectives, and some, building on the slides, particularly what Debbie shared around what does an authentic partnership look like. And so we hope you'll have a bit of fun with this as well. But what an honour it is to be here. So tēnā koutou katoa, I'll hand it over to Jay to introduce himself. Kia ora.
Kia ora koutou. My name is Jay Marco Fernandos Beeman. That's a mouthful. And years ago at Te Orohau, when Hemi came to visit us, he was doing a scope review on our service. And as we stood and we mihied, and I was very nervous, but I did my mihi and I whakapapa back to Maniapoto as well. And so we made a connection back then, and then we started with the cups of tea after that. That went on to coffee, and now, consider him a friend. So tonight we're going to start by, showing you how this works, because we're going to share the microphone, okay? So that is an authentic relationship of biculturalism. Is that right? Yeah. We're going to give that a go.
Absolutely. Sure, Jade. What we thought would start with is when we talk about the topic, it's such an important topic, but a very complex topic as well. When we talk about what is growing or developing an authentic bicultural relationship look like, not only establishing that relationship, but how do you maintain it? So what you have behind you in terms of the PowerPoint presentation is some very explicit expressions of what biculturalism is. One of the important aspects, in my point of view, in my experience, is that biculturalism, first and foremost, is recognising, in this case, Māori, iwi Māori, as tangata whenua. Do we understand what the term tangata whenua means? As Māori, as the indigenous peoples of this beautiful country of ours, Aotearoa, but even more so, then you get into that term mana whenua, and this is where we have Auntie Aroha, Debbie, and perhaps others here who whakapapa tū nei tuahuriri, and the importance of those statuses, if you like, or their roles of mana whenua, but also tangata whenua. So that's what we wanted to really express about what biculturalism is. Jade, you had an example of perhaps of what biculturalism as well.
I did. Let's check this one. Just refresh my memory, Hemi. We were down there having a coffee.
We were talking about what's come out of biculturalism in terms of te reo Māori as an official language here in Aotearoa, New Zealand. Biculturalism is reflected in tūranga and what Debbie shared about the cultural narratives that are honoured in the story of mana whenua, of nei tuahuriri, and even more so the work that Jade does with Te Orohau Ōtautahi as well. So how about we skip to the next slide? Yes. So the Te Reo Waitangi, when we're talking about a partnership, and it's a nice segue to what you introduced to Debbie about, when you're talking about biculturalism, the purpose and the role of the Te Reo Waitangi was to establish a partnership, was to honour a partnership. And that partnership was underpinned by principles, as Debbie alluded to: protection, participation, and last but not least, what's the third P, whānau? Protection, participation, partnership. This is what the Scope Up is about.
Yeah. And just a little bit of my experience, I like in the blurb of what tonight was about, is it said there, and a key word for me was journey. About 12 years ago when I started at Te Ora Hau, I didn't quite know who I was, my whakapapa and where I came from, but at Te Ora Hau that kind of started to come out. And as I partnered with our kāmatua, who's now passed, George Ehau, he would encourage me that it was kind of like, with the partnership, it was a marriage. We've entered into this relationship and we've made some vows and a covenant. And, we're committed to this. And it hasn't been the best of relationships, but Māori are committed to seeing how we work this out. And the benefit of that is that, when parents are together and they're in a loving, reciprocal relationship, then the kids benefit. And so my thinking around that, what George's kōrero was, that who are the kids? It's the people. It's all cultures. Because, Māori will say, what is the most important thing? It is the people. And it's not a people group. It's not, what's the most important thing? Māori. It's people. So it's all of us. So it's that relationship and the benefits are for all, not just for one people group. That's what I love about it.
Kia ora, Jade. Now, we get to the fun part. Jade and I are just going to have a seat and have an informal conversation.
I guess when we look at the treaty, and what are we, 179 years into that journey, into that relationship, and when we look at it, it looks really massive, and for me, it kind of was almost paralysing. I was like, wow, that's massive. What does that look like? We're in 179 years, we've come this far. For me, I felt a little bit paralysed, and I wondered, if we're going on this journey, when you are going on this massive hekoi, you sit and you plan and you go, what do I need for it? But with something like this, it's like, wow, where do I start? And it was about, finding out, what do I need for this journey? Who do I need to talk to? And what is it that I can put into my kiti to start me on the journey? Otherwise, we can just become paralysed when we just sit there and we don't actually get to go on the hekoi, on the journey, and enjoy it and have fun along the way. So, I wonder if you have any tips too about, how someone that's a little bit stuck on this journey, what it means, that bicultural, authentic relationship and the treaty, how that kind of, might be. What sort of tips or things can you put in your kiti to get underway?
Great question, Jade. Well, I would ask first and foremost, why is it necessary, is it important for me or for my organisation to establish a bicultural partnership in the first place? What motivates you? What is your purpose, your goals with that? And understanding what those goals or those aspirations, and particularly the values that you have as an organisation, and with whom you wish to have this partnership, the relationship with, and the value or the benefit, not only to you, but also to the whānau, hapu, runanga, what you're seeking a relationship with. As you said, Jane, it's understanding who, learning about who you intend to establish and grow a relationship with. Yeah. So what did you have in mind, and what is the purpose of it to have an authentic bicultural relationship?
But the question that I'd like to throw back to you is, again, I wonder in our setting, what relationships, when we talk about benefiting whānau, hapu and iwi, that sounds quite big to me. Like, who are those people? And who might we kind of shoulder tap or give a phone call or a text message to?
Kia ora. Well, how about we start with Auntie Aroha, Debbie and various others. And how fortunate are we to have mana whenua of Nei Tuahuriri here with us this evening. But that is a very good question and a very difficult position for many organisations or people to be in terms of who do they contact. Is it the receptionist or the key person at the front desk, if you like, at Ken Show Place in Addington, Te Runanga o Naito in the office? I was at the centre of the universe, a beautiful little place called Tuahiwi, where Nei Tuahuriri's marae, Mahanui Tuarua, sits. Is it there? Is it speaking with Crete or with Coral? Or is it just going directly with Auntie Aroha, even talking with Debbie? The question is, start somewhere. Start somewhere, start a conversation. And like any relationship, treating that conversation, that hui, with respect. Take kai. It's a great level in terms of sharing kai. And before you arrive at the door or the whare, learn about who you intend to have a relationship with. And find out who that person is, a little bit about their background. The cultural narrative that's been shared in this beautiful house is a good starting point, and then you can build from that. And then what you're building is something that's authentic and genuine. Was that helpful?
Very, very.
And also with staff, that are wondering about this journey. So, if we decide as a leadership team that we're wanting to go on this journey and engage with this, what knowledge or skills might they need, and what's their approach, and if they're needing support, how do we kind of navigate that?
Yeah, capability and capacity within any organisation is an absolute challenge. Again, know who your staff are, and you'll be surprised in terms of the skill, the experience, the knowledge, and more importantly, the networks and relationships that they might have. They might know somebody who knows uncles, aunts, cousins, sisters, brothers, nephew. I played rugby with them, we had a netball together. Start a conversation with that person. And again, that professional development opportunity will be developed once you progress that relationship going forward. With the partnership, it's about recognising the benefits that you each bring to each other. With shared goals, mission, vision, aspirations going forward, you'd be surprised how reinforcing and inspiring that is in terms of the overarching vision of your organisation, sharing it with particularly in that learning opportunity that will come with cultural context or cultural responsiveness, whatever that might be. Really exciting times.
I like that encouragement of go and talk and just engage, start the conversation. One thing that we did at Te Oroho, we hold a contract with the attendance service, and we're supporting Māori and whānau out there that are, finding it hard to engage in education. And so we're just a little drop in the bucket that get the privilege to knock on the door to engage with whānau and see what support they need. But we're a very small voice when it comes to speaking back to government and creating change that would benefit Māori. And so we've started to engage with Ngāi Tahu, and we just invited a few for a conversation down at Te Oroho. Did exactly what you said. We had a kai, we had a conversation, and then we started to make connections and understand that we had a shared purpose. And it actually fell out of that. We were talking about education, but then it fell out of that we're in the middle of site development, and this beautiful thing about here's an opportunity that we can be a part of the narrative of our area, and we can build and weave that into our building and our development. So we're looking at partnering with these beautiful people to have that conversation to say, hey, what is the narrative, what is the story, what's the cultural narrative here in Papanui, and how can we be a part of that as we go through site design? So we're kind of getting really excited about that from exactly what you said, just starting a conversation, and then this beautiful stuff kind of came out of that. Yeah.
So you've described shared values, and the values of Te Oroho were similar to the values of Ngāi Tuahuriri originally. And I understand that Te Oroho was also doing work across not just Papanui but various areas across Te Waikato, the South Island, that also included benefit for Ngāi Tuahuriri, like young people, for example, attending the alternative education program. So there were benefits to the iwi. Because one of the important aspects of any partnership is about reciprocity. What's the benefit for the iwi? So when you're building a partnership, it's about sharing those resources. It's not just about arriving at the door of mana whenua. You say, look, we need this, we need your help for this and that. How about you help us as well? What can you give us? And what you give us, will it ensure the integrity of our values as well? So thinking about those things. So tell me a little bit more about that engagement with Ngāi Tuahuriri. I believe that was with Lynn Tioka.
Yes.
Gilbert.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess that came about with a whole lot of questions. So we were wondering, I guess, with our service, like, how can we better engage and support Māori? And I guess we were coming up against some of those barriers where we were like, we don't know who to talk to. And then we thought, you know, Ngāi Tahu are doing some amazing work and they have a much bigger voice than Te Oroho. But we have a similar purpose and that shared vision, like we want to. I guess that is, you know, that's our mission up there, which is reconnecting rangatahi and tamariki, that strong sense of identity and God-given potential. So at Te Oroho, we are a youth and community development organisation, and yeah, that is our passion, is calling out that potential, that, you know, that mana that they were born with, and we want to enhance that and grow that. So it just made sense that we need to be having these conversations. Yeah.
Sure, Jacob. Thank you for explaining that. So it's just been a great conversation, and in terms of growing, developing a authentic bicultural partnership. I hope some of the ideas that I have, I've been fortunate to work with Ngāi Tahu and Ngāi Tuahuriri in a whole range of different contexts. But like any relationship, it's about core values of ngā ura, of respect, of generosity, of caring for others, those values that we all, and each and every one of us, I'm sure, hold dear. And it's about sharing those values again with others and the benefits that will come from there. So, tēnā koe e hoa. Hopefully that was helpful. Jade and I are really, again, just so grateful for the opportunity to spend this time with you. We've got some ideas in terms of moving forward for Te Oroho and various other pieces of work that we're doing in the scope of Aotearoa Charitable Trust space in terms of working with organisations who wish to establish and maintain a bicultural relationship that benefits their organisation's vision going forward. And it is complex, but there are amazing and supportive people out there. As I mentioned, as Dave and I mentioned, there are some of those people here. There are people that you know of. Like any relationship, it has to start somewhere. And as that grows, as that relationship grows, some wonderful, wonderful things will come from it. And as this whakatauki implies, you know, no te raurou, nāku te raurou, kora ai te tangata, o kora ki ora ai te iwi. Tēnā koutou. Before I just say thank you very much, I want to hand the microphone shortly over to Jade for some closing comments. But this was such a thrill for us to be here this evening, and how much of a privilege it is to share what's important for Jade and I, you know, is not only as friends and perhaps colleagues in a certain context as well, but also finding out that we're related. This was no coup from Ngāti Maniapoto, but we are both honoured and privileged to work within the rohe of Ngāi Tuahuriri, Ngāi Tahu. And it's such a wonderful experience to be a part of what Chris, Erica, and the wider team are doing with this amazing kaupapa. So, kia kaha, kia maia, kia mananui, Som, e reo, kore te tēnā ko te katoa, Jade.
Yeah, I guess my wee end bit is just that encouragement that it is a journey. You know, to start this relationship, you know, is actually, you know, it's a journey. We're either, you know, right at the very start, paralysed, don't know where to go, but we've got some great tips there and encouragement. And then, you know, there's that journey, and we're all at different stages. I don't know if we'll ever be there. But I guess that is our aspiration, that is our goal, is to be moving towards that quality, that authentic cultural relationship. So, cool.